Neon lights, they're cutting through the night. City streets, they call out to the fight. A skyline hums alive, never still. Chasing dreams, we run against the thrill. Young hearts in a glow, in the pulse of the street. We rise, we fall, where the shadows meet. Underneath the lights, we're the ones they'll talk about. Young, wild and free, let it all scream out.
Yo, what's up, jerks? Good afternoon. Happy Wednesday. We've got a lot happening right now related to Karen Reed and also with Miles King and Rosemary. We've got a lot to cover today. I'm looking to get right back into the news, the headlines. There's a lot happening. There's also a lot happening on the YouTube streets, the so-called drama. We're not going to touch any of that. We're just going to get back to work. Back to work, people, especially the stuff that doesn't involve us, thank God, for once. I love you all. I want to thank all the people here, Law Talkers. I love Money Mike. Money Mike is here. I'm feeling better. I had a headache yesterday. I told you all that, remember? I'm going to be live for a little while tonight. There's going to be a lot going on. We have a great guest. We have an attorney coming back to the show. Somebody I like. He's got his own YouTube channel. He's been talking all about what we're going to talk about today, so this is probably going to be like a second lap for him, but it's kind of new for us. I want to hear his take on this because there's been a lot going on with Karen Reed and especially Michael Proctor and the town of Canton and like I said, Miles King and Rosemary. And we had a hearing today. We're going to probably get into that a little later tonight as well. But let's bring up the guest, attorney Andrew Myers. Like I said, he's also got his YouTube channel that we'll be promoting as well tonight. He's a local attorney. He's been on, I believe that, he's had Howie Carr on his show. I know that. And he's had some great guests. He's also has another attorney that's on his show often. And he's really been killing it. You see Betterow on there as well. Let's welcome attorney Andrew Myers back to the Young
Mike.
Jerks. How you doing, Andrew?
Hey, Mike, I'm well. How are you?
I'm feeling good today. I'm feeling better. I had a headache yesterday, and it's a little cooler out. It's nicer. I've been planting grass, and it's finally coming up. Like I was at that point where I was almost ready to give up because you're not supposed to grow grass in June, but the landscaper decided.
I know you like to grow grass.
I do. I like all kinds of grass. I'm growing grass everywhere. All kinds of grass.
The best time to grow grass is in the fall when it cools down.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Rains. Yeah.
Usually early spring or fall. That's usually what I do. But the landscaper, we had a lot of, bad spots, and the neighbor was like, "We need to fill that in." So he started planting seed. I'm like, "You're doing it now? I'll water it." So I've been watering it every day, and finally it's coming through. So I'm feeling good about it. It's like finally, good. You know how it is. You get like 10 days in, and you're like, "What's going on?" And then all of a sudden you see it coming through. You're like, "All right, it's coming through." So I'm feeling good. The grass is growing.
Good for you.
The important stuff. But anyways, let's talk about this Karen Reed stuff because you've been covering this and we've all been watching these hearings and we've seen the judge. How do you want to break into this? Because there's a lot to cover. There's a lot of different like the aspects of this, suits and venues, and it just goes on and on and on and on. And you did prepare something for us, so let me know when you want to put that on the screen, and maybe introduce yourself too to the audience that might not know before we even get into that.
Oh, I'm not as well known as you, but because you've been doing this for a long time. I've only been doing a podcast for 3 years now, a little bit more than 3 years, and we're struggling. But there's a lot of competition. There are a lot of good attorneys out there, and other attorneys, but there are a lot of good attorneys out there that are doing podcasts. What I find really interesting is that attorneys all over the country are covering Karen Reed, and I don't know, Mike. Maybe you could give me some insight on this. Maybe. I don't know whether it's because it's good for the numbers or is the Karen Reed trial or are all the Karen Reed associated matters just that outstanding in people's minds that we see attorneys from all over the country covering it on YouTube? Which do you think it is? Is it for
All
the
of that.
numbers, or is it
I
because
think
it's
it's
such
all
a
of that. I mean, I think anytime I do, it's funny. Like I do a lot of the political guests. I'll have the auditor on or whoever else. I'll think it might draw numbers, and people aren't as interested in that stuff. And then anytime I touch Karen Reed, that gets the numbers every single time. It's funny. Like I had a city councilor Ed Flynn on the show,
Mhm.
live show,
Sure,
got no
sure.
numbers. I repackaged one segment of it where he talked about Karen Reed and John O'Keefe. I put that video out. It got 15 times the amount of listeners that the live did just
Yeah.
because it said Karen Reed in the title. So
Yeah,
it's like everything Karen Reed. I think that is a big part of it. But I also think the police corruption part of it, like
oh
the
yeah.
scandalous, DA and the mystery of it. I think that's the other part is the mystery of it because people have been arguing this on all sides, and some people don't know still. Some people are still. It's a whodunit in the end. So I think there's a lot of elements, and I think Karen Reed herself, um, being against the state and the DA, being who she is, and a younger, attractive female, let's put it that way, who's a professional, she is almost like a lightning rod just because of who she is. Some people love her, some people dislike her strongly just because, professional. I'll say white woman too. Some people don't like that the aspect of it. They say you only care about this because she's a white woman, which there is something to that because a lot of times when there's an attractive white woman, people want to rescue. They think that and so there's a lot of different aspects to this. Let's say, and not that I'm saying people shouldn't support Karen because she's a white woman. I clearly support Karen for a lot of reasons. I think she's innocent. That's why I support Karen. That's my opinion. I'm allowed it. And the big thing is she was found not guilty. So this is like
Right.
continuing to be
Right.
almost like the OJ thing at this point. Like people got even more interested in the civil trial because of what happened in the first trial. So I think it's like a never-ending story at this point.
No, I agree
Um,
with you 100%. And I think you hit the nail on the head. It doesn't matter whether you're writing a play or a novel or a true crime, it's the element of mystery. We do not know what happened to John O'Keefe. We know that the experts that came in from ARCA proved definitively, credibly, without any doubt in my mind, that Karen Reed's car did not hit John O'Keefe. And John O'Keefe also additionally was not hit by a car. And the experts that the Commonwealth had were just atrocious. You had Joseph. What was his last name? I forget now. I was looking at it this morning. The state cop that was really no expert, but he pretended that he was Joseph Paul.
Trooper Paul. Yeah.
Was just awful. And then you had the Blue Man Group guys that put
Oh,
grease paint on the tail light and waved their arms around without any proof of substantial similarity to what they were doing and what might have happened to John O'Keefe. And then the other one lied on his resume and was
God,
fired
well,
from.
yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean
I'm
that too, like the drama of that trial, like the like all that,
both of them.
and then the Sally Port, the inverted Sally. I mean,
Oh
there's
yeah.
stuff where we just dropped our jaw. We were just like, can you believe this? Can you put like there was so many moments in the two trials. So I think
So if we know definitively that it was not Karen Reed that hit John O'Keefe, who did, that element of mystery is the biggest thing, whether you're talking about a Shakespeare or a play or a sitcom. That's the element that people want. In other cases where you see that the person did pretty conclusively do the crime that they're charged, but then there are other types of defenses, whether it's mental health or a whole myriad of other defenses. The Karen Reed case, what happened to John O'Keefe? Why wasn't there a good investigation? Why didn't the police go into the house? Why didn't the police do a lot more? Why didn't they seal off the crime scene? Why didn't they put up police tape? Why aren't there any pictures of Mr. O'Keefe when they found him in the snow? Why did they use solo cups? There's just so many mysteries in this case.
that's right.
Why? And are they going to do that now? It's probably too late. Many commenters feel that it's too late to do an investigation now because the trail is cold. But that element of mystery is what it is. And Karen is a articulate woman. She's gone against all the advice that all attorneys always give every defense client. Don't talk. Don't go to the media. Don't say anything. But she's been doing it, and she's still doing it. So it's a standout case. It is a standout case, and I think I think the case deserves the national attention that it's getting.
Done it, and just the story arc, how it continues in the civil
Yeah.
case, and you wonder, like, is it there was Star Wars, right? And then there was, what was the next movie? Empire Strikes
Empire
Back. Is
Strikes
this the
Back.
Empire Strikes Back part of the movie? Like, is this when the McAlberts come back and win something? I mean, that's an element of this too. People want to see what happens next. Who's going to come out victorious in the civil side, which we definitely want to talk about tonight. I mean, before we get there, I keep teasing that. We got a comment that said Andrew's streams are very good. You kind of
Thank you, Marlott.
downplayed your YouTube. I have to say, like, I've noticed you're getting some views now. Like, you are actually pretty damn popular now. Have you noticed your views are going up? I noticed.
I'm not where a lot of other people are. And Mike, to be really honest with you, I love it. When I first started doing it, that's not the reason I started doing it. I knew nothing at all about YouTube. I simply blogged way back in the teens. I blogged because the guy that did my website said that, well, Google doesn't like it if you just have a website and leave it there. So you've got to add new content. So I was blogging all through the 20 teens, various legal topics, you name it, I did it, car accidents, people don't know how to drive, distracted driving, drunk driving. What are the elements of damages if you're in an accident? Why? My attorney says I have to have an expert. Why? So I did all that. But then despite the best information I was getting from my SEO expert, towards the end of the teens, people don't read anymore, Mike.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't go into a store and buy a newspaper anymore. The grocery stores, but the old mom and pop stores don't handle them anymore because they get 10 papers, they can't sell 9 of them, and they go back. So
I'm an old print writer. So tell me about it. We used to write for Big Boston. No longer a publication.
I'm an old print reader. I would go to the store. I'd get the Herald. I'd get the Globe. I'd get the Post. I'd get the Washington Post, which is crap now, but it was a great paper. I'd get the Phoenix. I'd get the real paper.
Me too.
I'd sit there and read them all. I read them all. But anyhow, my point is that people don't read. So my blog articles were, crap. So people said, well, do videos. So I started doing videos along the lines of my civil practice. People don't know how to drive in rotaries. Bollards can protect people. There was an accident down in Hingham where a guy drove right into an Apple store and killed somebody because there were no bollards. People didn't care. People didn't watch that. So on advice of a lot of people said, do true crime. So that's why I did it. And I was about 6 months into it. And my co-host at the time, Laney, said, why don't you monetize this? I said, what? I didn't know you could get money for it. I was only doing it to amp up my SEO for my website. Then Laney tells me, oh, you can. I'm like, what? You can make money doing this? Really? Seriously?
I know.
So,
I feel the same way because I started out with MySpace. Like,
oh God!
And then I had a blog, with some Google ads, but and then like you said, I started writing. I was a print writer for Dick Boston. Do you remember Dick Boston? It was like a smaller rival of the Phoenix. Do you remember that one? No, you ever read that one?
Phoenix and the Real Paper.
Yeah,
I remember the Phoenix and the Real Paper, and I think a place that we both worked at a little bit, WCAS.
Oh yeah.
WCAS.
I didn't work there, but you did.
Oh, I thought you did. No, briefly, very briefly.
No. I've never actually worked in any real radio. Well, actually, How We Caught Radio, so that's not true. But
big.
I used to help out on the only real radio I kind of did helping out. I did a lot of guest spots, but WAAF Bay State Rock, I used to kind of help out with my girl. She was the host of it. I didn't really want to be part of it because I don't want any nepotism or having her boss me around. But sometimes I'd drive her in or be her co-host on Christmas and shit like that when her other co-hosts wouldn't be there, or if there was a blizzard, I'd be her driver, and I'd help her pick out songs behind the scenes and direct some music to her sometimes. But that was pretty much it. But it's funny because everyone thinks I did radio because basically what I did was a thing called EMF radio and unregular radio. It was streaming internet radio. It wasn't real radio. but now I do Howie. So, and I have, like I said, I've been on the radio a million times as a guest on other shows and things like that, and have associations. I worked with a lot of people from BCN, FNX, and AAF specifically with booking shows. I used to do a lot of music and things like that. But
Awesome.
let's get back to this. Let's get
Okay.
because
All right.
I want to talk about what you're doing. Number one, we got your link in the chat, so people know. Our
Thank
great
you.
mod Sarah posted
Thank
all
you.
your links. I want people to follow Andrew on
Thank you.
YouTube and everywhere else she posted. Make sure you check that out, pinned in the chat.
Thank you.
We already have some questions. I mean, like I said, where do you want to start on this Karen Reed stuff? Because I do have some questions people post, so we're going to post some questions to you. But let's just get started with you want to. What do you think we should jump off on?
Well, I
'Cause
don't
there's
know.
so
It's up
much
to you.
it.
There was a hearing this afternoon in the wrongful death case where Judge Gilday was giving them all a lot of grief, and he's not happy that Colin Albert was deposed, but not pursuant to the subpoena that came out initially. So there's that, and he's holding people's feet to the fire. Well, he's in the middle. I don't care if he's in the military. I want an answer. When can he appear? Well, we only talk to him once a week. Well, yeah, I need to know when he's going to appear. The discovery. He can probably appear in the fall. Well, the discovery deadline's in August 17th. So that's pretty much how that hearing went. And the judge is very not happy. There's 2 more additional hearings that he's now scheduled to find out what's going on with all of the parties, all of the depositions. He's not happy that there are several motions to compel regarding discovery. And we heard this afternoon that Aaron Rosenberg said that there's yet another motion to compel, and I think it was answers to interrogatories. And why they keep bringing this stuff to Judge Gilday, I'm not sure. They're just, they're just getting into these figurative fisticuffs over so many issues like the Colin Albert deposition or non-deposition. And they don't realize that judges had it, and they really need to go down to Starbucks, have a latte, and work it all out. Either that or go down in Brian Albert's basement and have a fight and fight it out. One or the other. They need to learn how to resolve these things without, running to Judge Gilday. Judge Gilday, yeah.
It seems like the judge has been frustrated. I didn't get to watch that yet today. I just saw it came out. I was trying to stream it early, like find where I could stream it. I couldn't find it today. I saw it like 2 minutes before we were starting. So I'm going to definitely share that on our channel later. So, we'll probably watch it later together. Here's a question that came up related to all that. Wait, what True Crime says, can we discuss the deposition avoidance of Proctor and Colin? What do you think about that? Is there anything to think about it, or is it suspicious? Is it normal?
Well,
what do you say about it?
With respect to Proctor, he brought that last-minute motion last Friday. His deposition had been scheduled last Monday, and on a Friday, Proctor's attorney filed the emergency motion, which I didn't think was proper at all. No real emergency. And it gave, the whole thing was impounded, so we don't know, but they cited 2 nebulous reasons: health reasons and what was the other one? Health reasons and other concerns, but they weren't really very specific. Health reasons could be anything from a cold to being on death's doorstep. So we don't know what that was all about, and that was really bad form, in my own opinion. In the very end, the judge heard the whole thing on a Monday morning at 8:45, 9 o'clock, because they couldn't get their act together. He heard the thing at 9 o'clock. They impounded the material, so we don't know exactly what it was. And then the judge says, well, I don't see enough evidence to substantiate the emergency motion. I'll give you till 4:15 this afternoon. They came back at 4:15. Whatever report that's been impounded that Proctor's attorney at that time presented still didn't substantiate it. The judge says, all right, I will not allow the emergency motion. I will end my stay of the subpoena. The deposition shall go forward tomorrow. In my opinion, the Reed people, who I love in this particular instance, blew it by not, yes, we'll do it. No, we're not available. What could be more important than interviewing Proctor and setting him up? Because if he didn't appear, which it looked likely, he's in contempt of court. What could have been better for this case than holding Michael Proctor in contempt of court?
I mean, we were hearing that Alan Jackson had a conflict, that he had something else he had to do, schedule a hearing Would you do it without Jackson in that case? What would you have done?
Well, I know Jackson was loaded for bear, but I
Yeah.
mean the other guys. I mean, I don't know what could it be more important. Alan Jackson is obviously a great attorney, and I'm not going to say anything against the great Alan Jackson. But what could have been more important? Couldn't he have gotten somebody else to sit in for his other case, or couldn't one of the Aaron Rosenberg is a fantastic attorney. He's on top of it all. Why couldn't he have done the first day of the deposition? So I think they blinked. But so that was that. And then the whole Colin Albert thing, that was what Judge Gilday was hearing this afternoon. And he wasn't hearing this, that Albert, went into boot camp. It's like, this subpoena has been out there since what, Mike? I think February. And the Colin Albert people said, well, you're asking for too broad of a range of documents. We can't get all of that. So they were going back and forth. But at one time, when Rosenberg and Seligson were going and saying, yeah, all right, we're going to narrow the scope of all of this, the Proctor people just went silent for 3 weeks, and then the whole thing was forced. They did a deposition without the Reed people, and it's like the judge wasn't hearing any of that. He said, no, when is he going to appear for the subpoena that's outstanding? If a subpoena means anything, it has to mean something. So the judge wasn't buying it, and I think rightly so, he wants to know when Colin Albert's going to sit for his deposition with all parties. I mean, how sneaky to go behind everybody's back and hold a deposition without the Reed people there. How sneaky was that?
Sneakiness. Back and forth. I mean, Karen too, but I don't blame Karen. It's part of the game. That there is definitely almost like a chess match going on between back and forth. Like, especially the way that Karen's team, when they filed the lawsuit, the judge noted that in a recent hearing, and it's kind of been back and forth. You could see the games being played, but. Where do you see this going, though, in the end? I mean, you have. Do you want me to throw this up on the stage? You have. This
what
kind of
this
scorecard.
Do you know what this was? This is my scorecard. There's 4 different civil cases, and I've heard other people be confused about the 4 cases. I've actually heard good creators and good attorneys talk about one case and then talk about another. So we did a scorecard, and I just updated it with respect to the state cases this afternoon. So you're getting this first before I put it on my channel, Mike. But
Wow.
So case one, go back up a little bit. There you go. Case 1 is the wrongful death suit in the Plymouth County Superior Court. The plaintiffs are Paul O'Keefe, both individually and on behalf of John O'Keefe's estate, and his mother, Margaret O'Keefe, individually and as the grandparent and guardian of Kaylee Furbish. They brought the case. They're the plaintiffs. The defendants are Karen Reed, C.F. McCarthy's, and the Waterfall Bar and Grill. This was brought in the Plymouth County Superior Court. It's the wrongful death case. There's also some claims for emotional distress. It was filed. Remember this? Way back in August of 2024. That's when it was originally filed. And of course, Karen Reed got a limited protective order that she wouldn't have to do her deposition or other discovery. And the thing that's biggest right now is that there's a discovery deadline only 2 months from today, August 17th. And that's why Judge Gilday is kind of, pushing people. And according to the tracking order, I can explain what a tracking order is if anybody wants to know, but the tracking order in the court says final judgment's got to be, by August 26th of 2027. Whether it happens
14 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's case 1. Case
when
2.
When they say final judgment, does that mean it will be completely done by then, or it will go to trial then?
No, that means that it's got to be done by then. But these tracking orders are like a guideline. They're
pushback.
A guideline. It's like, Mike, let's get together for lunch. Yeah, well, I'm busy this day. All right. So let's say, give me a buzz Monday of 2 weeks from now. It's a general kind of, but the courts, depending on who the regional administrators are at the time, do or don't enforce these things. And Judge Gilday obviously wants to push it.
He wants it done. He
Yeah,
wants it done.
so that's
So
case
now we're
one.
going to page 2, right? Page 2
Yeah,
or
there's
case
case
2.
number. Case 2 is in the federal court. This is Karen Reed. This is the case that she originally brought in Bristol, right? And the
Yes, moved to
defendants
federal.
the defendants are Michael Proctor, Yuri Buchanan, and Brian Tully, all personally, and then what they called the House defendants: Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, Jennifer McCabe, Matthew McCabe, and Brian Higgins. And again, this is in the federal district court in Boston. What are the causes of action? Malicious prosecution against Proctor, Buchanan, and Tully, supervisor liability under Section 1983, a civil rights action, conspiracy, the Mass Civil Rights Act, malicious prosecution, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and civil conspiracy. But the big thing is the malicious prosecution by Proctor, Buchanan, and Tully, and then the roles that the House defendants played in that. That's case 2. Case 3.
Let me add, before we get to case 2,
yes,
case 3. This one, I know they're pushing, am I correct? They're pushing to have this all dismissed, the House defendants, right?
Yes, they are. I'm not up on
What do
that. I haven't read
What
up
do you
on
think
all of
about the
that.
chances of that getting dismissed? Is it like, is
Well,
it possible?
I don't think so, because in there's two things. There's the anti-SLAPP statute, which I don't think that really fits. That's my opinion. I know other creators have gone really into depth. I did one episode where we talked about the SLAPP statute. I don't think that really pertains here. I don't think the
Agree.
case law really.
I don't think
supports that.
anti-SLAPP's going to help Karen, Aiden, or the House defendants, any of them, because I got sued last year, or was it this year? I'm trying to remember. But I got sued recently,
I remember.
and I won that. But what I didn't win is the anti-SLAPP, and I thought we had a shot, but anti-SLAPP is very narrow. It has to be someone basically who's in office or who's like working for the governor. Somebody. It has to be about a campaign too. It's like very narrow. I don't want to be like 100% specific on what how narrow it is, but it is narrow.
Well,
I thought I had a chance because the people suing me were funded by the city of Boston, so I thought I had a shot, but. I just think it's really hard to win an anti-SLAPP unless, like I said, unless it's like Chris Albert. If you were talking about his campaign, then you could win an anti-SLAPP. But otherwise, I don't see any of these anti-SLAPPs winning.
I don't either. I agree with you on that.
But they could win on the dismissal. Doesn't mean they can't get it dismissed. Anti-SLAPP just means they get money back. They get their funds back, and it's a specific way to dismiss.
So, but then the fallback is on the general motion to dismiss. There's two grounds for the motion to dismiss. One is the SLAPP, and the other is just a standard 12B6 motion to dismiss under the federal rules. But all a plaintiff has to do to withstand a motion to dismiss under Rule 12B6 in the federal or Massachusetts courts, here we're federal, is have enough facts that they state a plausible, articulable claim. Doesn't have to be true. That comes later under a motion to dismiss under Rule 56. All they have to do is state a claim with sufficient alleged facts, sufficient aversions that they state a plausible, articulable case. And I think they do, especially since they amended the complaint. And we did an episode on that going way deep. So no, I don't think that's going to be dismissed. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not a judge. But no, I think
it seems like it would be too complicated to dismiss at that point too, because like my case, the reason I got dismissed at that point, even though it's a state, not a federal, but the reason it got dismissed is because it was so clear cut. Like I didn't make any statements of fact. Everything I got sued for was either a question or an opinion. It was clear, and the judge saw that immediately. So we didn't even have to argue the facts of it. I don't see how they can have something like that to get it dismissed quickly. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know enough about it. But
no, I think you're on the right track.
Interesting. Yeah,
I think you're on the right track. Absolutely, Mike. Case 3 is in the Plymouth. This is the other case that's in the Plymouth County Superior Court. This is the defamation case that was brought by the House defendants. Oh, they hate that word, don't they? They've said they're the Commonwealth witnesses, but specifically the plaintiffs in the case are Jennifer McCabe, Brian Albert, Colin Albert, Brian Higgins. And this is the case they brought against Karen Reed and Aiden Carney. It's in the Plymouth County Superior Court. This is the one that, interestingly, they brought it over in Barnstable. Now, don't you love hearing creators in other parts of the country say Barnstable?
Yeah,
That's a
it's like
whole
Haverhill. Yeah.
Haverhill.
They have a
It's
tough.
Haverhill.
They have tough time with Worcester. They have a tough time with
Worcester.
a lot of words that we use over here.
So anyhow, it was brought in Barnstable, but the administrators of the court system quickly removed it back over to Plymouth,
Plymouth.
where the other case is. And this is the case for, it's primarily defamation, but the other causes of action are civil conspiracy, emotional distress, aiding and abetting, defamation, emotional distress, and the Massachusetts Unfair Trade Act, which I don't think is going anywhere, Mike, but you bring that because you can get your attorney's fees paid. It's
Unfair trade. How is I'm weird. That's a weird one for me. Unfair Trade Act.
well,
But
they're
I don't
saying
know. I mean,
they're saying that Mr. Carney has a business, and they went
well, okay,
into
I could
it.
see it against Aiden maybe because he has a business, but Karen
Right.
doesn't have a business. Is that part
No.
against Karen too, or is that just
No,
against Aiden?
I forget whether they even brought it
Yeah.
against Karen, but I'm
Yeah.
telling you right now, I don't think it would sit against Karen. But the allegations are, I'm not litigating it, and I'm not stating any conclusions, but the allegation is that Mr. Carney has a business. He has multiple platforms on which he puts out news. And before the Karen Reed case, he had a lot of stuff like the state police overtime scandal and a lot of other issues. So it's true that he does have a business, and they're saying that he was engaged in unfair trade. Whether it's a good claim or not, I'm not the judge, but you bring a claim like this. I've brought claims like this in the past. You win some, you lose some, but if you win, you can automatically get double or triple damages, automatic, and you also get attorney's fees and costs, because in this country, there are two rules, the British rule and the American rule. Under the British rule, the winner gets their attorney's fees paid by the loser. Loser pays. So in the UK, the idea is that you don't want to bring a case that you don't think you're going to win, because if you lose, you're paying the other side's legal fees. The American rule is that
I'd be a rich person right now. I'd have all that money back.
The American rule is that all the parties pay their own legal fees and expenses, unless there's some statute or other fee shifting device. That's what Mass General Laws Chapter 93A is. It's a fee shifting device. Generally speaking, people bring it in the consumer arena. You know, you buy a car and it's a lemon, and that's a bad example because there's all other types of
ripped off. If you get ripped off, you would use that Unfair Trade Act.
MGL Chapter 93A generally is used for consumers, but there is a specific section for businesses, and that's what they're bringing in. And this was filed very recently, April 16th of 2026. The discovery deadline is February 10th. It had been out 3 years, but when Judge Gilday was assigned this case, he truncated it down to February 10th of 2027, which, Mike, that's not that far off. And then the case closing is scheduled for March 17th of 2028. So Judge
Which
Gilday,
is a while.
Yeah,
that's a little while. That's a year and a half.
Yeah, but
it's not that long in a case like this, though. But I know it's a year and a half. You know, I wonder. You mentioned the they don't like the House defendants. I've heard that because it was mentioned on one of our shows of guests that one of their spokespeople type people on Twitter got upset about it. But I wonder if they get upset about the House plaintiffs. Is that equally upsetting to them, or is it just the House defendants? Because now they're the plaintiffs. They can be called the House plaintiffs.
Well, they like to be called the Commonwealth witnesses only because people say in my channel, well, they didn't see anything. They didn't see. What did they see? Well, they're called that because they were called by the prosecutor, either Lally or Hank Brennan, in either trial 1 or trial 2. So they like the sound of that. So that's case 3. And
that's
there's
a good
one more
point. Commonwealth. I could see why they like to be that. That makes sense to me. Commonwealth witnesses, because I mean that gives them protections too, legal protections. That's what their whole thing is about. A lot of their PR, so it makes sense. Case 4.
Case 4 is the very recent one, the very, very, very recent one that was originally intended to be in the other Karen Reed case that got removed to federal. They wanted to put it all together, but the House defendants removed it to federal. So this is a standalone case. These things could all change, Mike. I just updated this today. I may have to update it again, but this is the case that Karen Reed brought against the town of Canton and the Mass State Police.
You say it like Howie says it. Go ahead. Sorry, I gotta laugh. Every time he does that, I just laugh.
I've been a Howie listener since he went on the air. I remember when he was kind of trained by Jerry Williams. Remember Jerry Williams?
Oh yeah, he's legend.
Am I showing my age? Anyhow, so this one
I'm old too.
This was brought in the Bristol County Superior Court. It's still there at this time. And Karen Reed is bringing it against the town of Canton and the Mass State Police because of the causes of action of negligent hiring, supervision, and retention of Proctor and Sergeant Good and the rest. Violation of civil rights, both the state and federal, Section 1983. And it's brought under the Massachusetts Tort Claims Act. They had to go, Mike, you know this. You can't just sue a city or a state without their permission. It's called in Massachusetts, it's called the Massachusetts Tort Claims Act. And you have to go through a procedure called presentment, which means there's a format in which you need to present your claim to the executive director or the other person that is designated to take such claims. And then they have 6 months to either, reject it, or it's rare that they make a deal, but that's why it's there. So this was filed very recently on June 4th of 2026, just a few weeks ago. The discovery deadline is March 31st, 2027, which gives them, not a lot of time. And then the final judgment would be scheduled for June 5th of 2028. So I originally did this. I was going to do a short, but I'm giving it to you first. I have to update it a little bit more. Then we're going to do a short so people can use this as kind of a guideline, because I've heard people confuse the 4 cases.
Oh, it's easy. It's even if you know there's 4, it's like, which are we talking about again? Even though if you know, you have to think about it. You're like, and especially because a lot of them are under the same judge. You know what I mean? So it's 2 of them. It is confusing. Yeah. But at the same
judge.
Yeah. It's funny though, because I like that you did this for us, because the big takeaway for me in my mind when I'm seeing it on paper is 2027 and 2028. We got 2 more years of this stuff, basically. If it goes all the way. We don't know. Could get thrown out, could get settled. You never know. But still, it looks like we have 2 more years of this stuff upcoming next year and the year after, which is just wow. I mean, it just never ends.
You say, I'm sorry, you say it could settle. I don't see that. Like in this case,
I don't either.
We're looking at right now, Karen Reed versus the town of Canton and the Mass State Police. I can't see them, coming up with any amount of money that Karen Reed is going to accept. I can't see that at all. I see that.
And I don't see them offering, because I don't think they want to have that loss, especially publicly, the public relations of this for both sides. I don't think any of these people are going to want to settle. You're right.
And with respect to Canton, you know a lot more than that because you cover their local meetings. I don't. Sometimes I watch you when you do that. But with respect to the Mass State Police, because I have handled litigation involving the Mass State Police, there is a whole procedure for even paying a dime. There's a whole internal procedure in which the Attorney General's office has to write a whole report. The attorney's handling it, write a report. It goes up to the actual attorney general. Then it goes over to the executive office of administration or some such horse, what, in Massachusetts. Then the comptroller of Massachusetts has to go through it. And then it goes to the governor's office. So there's a whole procedure that's employed if they want to settle a case. I did settle a case against the Mass State Police, but it was a car accident. I don't want to divert our attention away to the topic at hand.
How much money? Can you say how much money you might have settled it for?
It was so long ago. It was so long ago. I honestly don't remember. But what it was my client was driving in one direction on Broadway in Methuen, and the state cruiser was driving in a different direction and made a U-turn to go to Dunkin' Donuts. I swear to God, those are the facts. I swear to God, those are the facts. And
you think it's funny because they were going to get donuts?
It was a simple.
Of course, they were going to get donuts. Come on,
case, and they didn't want to settle it. We went through the presentment, and then we filed a claim. And in the end, it resolved. But the attorney I talked to seemed like a reasonable person, seemed like a really reasonable person, but he had to go up and down this chain several times. So in a case like this, I don't see it settling. I do not see it settling. Don't you think it would be interesting, though, for this to be on Maura Healey's desk? What do you think she'd do?
You might settle it just for it to go away, especially before the election. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think the state police don't want to settle it. That's the thing. I don't think that they want to. They want to try to win this. I don't know.
I agree. I can't see it settling. I see it. I see them all going to court, which raises the question, as my co-host Yoli Medina said.
Oh, you just said her name. It's funny because this was one of the comments I've starred here. It came out. Several Yoli comments have come up tonight.
Oh, yeah?
Victorine, one of our mods here, says, "Bring Yoli with you next time, Andrew." People like Yoli. We're seeing a lot of Yoli love in the chat. Put up your one if you like Yoli. I like her too.
She's from California. She's from California. Says, we're in the crucible here in Massachusetts, and we've been following this Massachusetts stuff for years. So the fact that there's corruption is just like, to you and me, man, it's just another day in Massachusetts. I'll speak for myself. The fact that there's corruption that's been reported is just another day. But so she comes with a fresh view, and she asks some really good questions that sometimes I can't really answer them without thinking about it a little bit. But now I forget what I was going to say. Oh, her point is is Massachusetts crazy? Are they going to try all four of these cases separately? What if they have different outcomes? Because Mike, my next chart is the causes of action and what is required to get to those causes of action. And at the center of all of them, Mike, wouldn't you agree? You don't have to. Wouldn't you agree that at the center of every single cause of action is what happened to John O'Keefe on January 28th, 2022? What happened? What happened to John O'Keefe? That's the nucleus of all of these cases.
That's why I'm doubtful like any of them will win. Like, that's why I feel like the House defendants don't. What do you call them? The Commonwealth witnesses don't have a shot. I feel like they don't because they can't. How are they going to prove that? I don't believe it. I don't believe they're going to be able to prove it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think Karen's going to have trouble too because she's got to prove they did it, which is also very hard to do. I think, and I think maybe the best shot is Karen versus the town of Canton and the Mass State Police, because obviously, and the cops, because they obviously have issues. Proctor obviously has issues. So I think she has a shot on that stuff, but I'm not sure about the House plan or the witnesses, whatever we're calling those folks, the McCabe's, the Alberts,
right.
Some people call them the McAlberts. There's a reason it's easy when you just call them the McAlberts, but I know they don't like that, but I think they're all going to have a hard time going against each other because of what you said. It's really hard to prove what actually happened.
But what happens, Mike? What happens if they try all four of these cases that we just went through? What happens if they try all four of them and they come up with different
I'm glad you brought that up because I never thought of that. Happens. It's such a good point. What does happen? What happens if Karen wins and they win? It's like, that is weird. That could be so bizarre if that would happen.
What if one jury says that, okay, no, we agree that Karen didn't do it. And another jury says, oh, we think Karen did it. Then what?
I know.
Doesn't that
what's
look
public opinion do?
Doesn't that look terrible for the courts that they wasted all this time and energy? So I did an episode where I'm just spitballing, I'm just prognosticating, wow. I'm just thinking outside the box where I'm thinking that at least the state cases could be put together. There could be a joinder of the cases. There could be trial of the actual facts of what happened that night, and then bifurcate out the different causes of action. The defamation really might have nothing to do with the negligent infliction of emotional stress. The emotional infliction of emotional stress may have nothing to do with the negligent hiring and supervision. So try the issue of what happened, that night, and then bifurcate the trial for different juries or, different courts to decide the rest of the causes of action, because it just seems illogical
Is it
to.
almost too late to do that because they've started depositions or not? Do you think that they could do that now? And who would do that? Would the judge do that, or would one of the
Generally,
parties have to do it?
generally speaking, it has to happen on motion, because I've been involved in cases that were severed and stayed. But as we saw when the defamation case was filed in Barnstable, as they call it, that was sent over to Plymouth. And we went through the statute on my channel that the administrative justices have some discretion in that area. So again, I'm just spitballing, but I'm thinking that some of the administrative justices are thinking out loud. How can we? Why are we wasting all these judicial resources? And that judicial economy is one of the things that's in that statute that gives the administrative justices some leeway to do it. So it could either be on a motion, or it could be the courts. But it just seems like a mess to me.
Do you think it would benefit Karen to do that? Do you think Karen might be the one to ask for that or not?
That's hard to say, Mike.
Yeah,
that's really hard to say. I don't know. But somehow these House defendants, or as you said, the McAlbert, what do they want to call them? They're going to have a new expert. Because Joseph Paul, seemed like a nice man, but he was a horrible witness. And the Blue Man Group were awful.
Yeah, so Wexler, the other guy.
Yeah,
it was really bad. I mean, that was just how much it costs. We had a question about Aiden and Karen. They're being tried. They're being sued together. Yeah. Does it make sense for either one of them to have it separated or not? Because this has come up a lot. People think they should try to separate them each other. Does it help them? Is there any reason they would want to do that or not want to do that?
Well, if they're attorneys, and I understand there's a split at this point between them, but the attorneys obviously are talking, and you would think if it was to their benefit, they would have brought what's called under the rules a motion to sever and stay. In other words, a motion to sever. So I don't know. It would seem, they are very different, as you pointed out earlier. I mean, Aiden has a business. He's in the business to gather and produce and present news, and Karen is a defendant who's been acquitted, and so they have very different claims. But the nucleus of it all goes all the way back to what happened on January 28th of 2022. But also, how do you try the conspiracy case unless you put them both together? So I don't know, Mike.
Because that's the thing. I go back to that. They are different in a way because, I think his defense could, beyond, I think they have that common defense where they're both going to say John O'Keefe wasn't killed by Karen Reed. I mean, that's their number one defense by far, I think. But even beyond that, I think the secondary defense for Aiden is I believe what Karen was telling me. Where Karen's going to have a little bit of a different spin on it because, she doesn't. So I think she's going to maybe distance herself from Aiden. You know what I mean? Because she's going to say, I didn't mean for him to go that far. You know what I mean? Right. I don't know. I'm just thinking. I'm speculating. Yeah. I'm just thinking. So I think they do have a common defense, but then they kind of have a little separation. And it's not, I'm not trying to drive a wedge between them. I think there's already a little bit of a wedge, obviously, but I just wonder. I wonder how their lawyers are going to handle this, and whether they should split. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I just wonder about these things. It comes up a lot. People bring this up. They should split. I don't know if they should. I have no idea.
They could bifurcate the final stages of it. Try the essential facts of what did happen and their communications, and then bifurcate the end of it. But hey, one of your commenters is one of my commenters, Christy, the painter's daughter, says this is going to get messy, and I have to agree with her. So yeah, I don't know what the answer to the question is. I'm sorry, you stumped me.
I know. It's just, I bet they don't either. I bet they're sitting there going, what should we do? Because it will cost us less, maybe. I don't know, especially Karen. I mean, she's got so many suits. But, I mean, Aiden, too, I bet a joint might help them. Maybe. I don't know. Valhalla Law says Karen does not have to prove the McAlberts killed John. I guess she doesn't, but isn't that kind of her defense in a way. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but
Yeah,
that's
she doesn't.
kind of the. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
she doesn't have to prove that anybody killed John, but it inures to her favor to point out that it wasn't her, and to have an expert point out that it wasn't her. I mean, if you have, I don't know if they're going to bring in the ARCA experts again. I don't see how they can't, because it's a new case, it's a new day, it's a new jury. It certainly is. It certainly is good for her to prove that it wasn't her. Whether she has to go so far as to prove that it was one of the House defendants, I don't think she does. I think your commenter is correct.
And I got to say, Tracy, thank you for protecting me. Everything's a disclaimer on here with me. Everything's an opinion or a question. I'm not stating any facts.
Oh,
I don't
these
want to
are
get
all
in
my
trouble.
these are all my opinions. I mean,
Please
read.
don't sue us.
Yeah, I
We're
read.
trying to be careful. We
I
try
read
to
all
be
the.
careful and fact based here, and not push
I
things.
read all the documents and I attribute
Yeah.
everything. You're a former reporter. You attribute
I
everything.
try. It's
That's number one.
it's much the thing we talk about print.
Yeah.
The best thing about print is you had an editor and you had some time to look it over. And
Right.
even if you got it wrong, sometimes you could put a retraction, or especially online, you could change it. But like with this live stuff, like sometimes you don't even think you're saying anything wrong, and you just misstate something. Like it's like when you call someone John and their name's Fred and you know it, you just kind of sometimes you have a brain fart. You're just worried you're gonna get sued for something stupid. It's crazy. So
That's one of the
live
reasons
shows are more difficult.
I don't
Much
like
more
doing
difficult
lives.
than print.
I don't. I did them for a while, as you know. You helped me with one. You
Yeah.
were the guest on one of my lives, and I don't like them. Not
I
only
love
for
them
that
and hate
reason,
them.
but yeah. But
The
I
great
like.
thing is you get them done quickly. It's like, and there's a live audience; they can help you. I like that aspect of it, but there's some risk to it too. Like things can go sour, things can go wrong. Technicals could ruin it. There's so many issues when you have a live at the same time. But like anything else, it's good and bad.
You do it. You do it. You do as we do. We record the episodes and then edit them. You have the opportunity to go back.
Takes mistakes out.
Did
Yeah,
I say
if you have a
something wrong?
misstatement,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you have
Like
that.
sometimes I'll say when I have Diana DeZoglio on the show, she's the auditor. But when I first knew her, she was the state senator. So a lot of times I'll be like, Senator DeZoglio, and she's like, Mike, auditor. I'm like, oh shit. She's like, call me Diane. It's just like you just have those. It happens. It happens live.
Yeah.
But let's get back to this because the questions are coming in tonight. I like this one. Actually, where was that one? I lost it. God damn. Sorry. Excuse my language.
There you go.
There were a few. There's like so many good questions. I don't want to miss them here. There was one about Aiden and Karen that I wanted to bring up, and I can't find it.
Oh, I saw it a minute ago. Hang on. Maybe I can go back and see it.
There's a few, but I want to make sure it's the right one. But if you see one, a good one, because I think there's a lot of good questions in there that kind of haven't been asked. I know. It was the Yannetti one. Because that's a question that I see it come up with a lot of the antis, honestly. And I just wonder what's really going on. And you're a lawyer. I know you don't want to bash on David Yannetti.
No.
But I think you'd be fair with the answer. Like, what about, somebody said, what about Yannetti telling Karen, telling Aiden, go, I don't know what he said, like, good job or something like that. Like, does David Yannetti have anything to worry about is basically, I guess, the question.
First of all, I like David Yannetti a lot. He and I graduated from law school the same year. He at Boston College and I at Suffolk University. So we've been practicing law exactly the same amount of time. He in criminal, I in civil. I have a lot of respect for the guy. I mean, they'd have to nail down exactly what he said. Were they giving him information? Yeah. I mean, what happens to Yannetti who was telling Aiden Kearney, good job? Well, so what? That's my response to that. So what? That doesn't mean that Yannetti was writing the script. He gave him.
And good job about what? I mean, that's the hard part to kind of define too. Like, even if there was a text that people could refer back to and say he's talking about what he just responded to, it's like, I don't know. It could be the bigger picture. I mean, it's hard to know exactly what he's saying there.
So I guess the correct me if I'm wrong. I really haven't followed that angle that closely.
Me too. But I know that there's a lot of heat behind it. That's why I kind of I just wonder, can lawyers kind of get in trouble for that stuff? Like if he kind of, gave him too much of a, go do this stuff. is a lawyer get in trouble for that, or is that just kind of
Well,
defending your
Well,
your
was he
client?
telling him to go do this stuff, or was he just giving him information? Back when I was a reporter, as you know, I was a reporter before I went to law school. People gave me information, but they had no control over what I did with that information. I had my sources. I had people that would call me and give me information, and some of them did not want to go on camera when I did the TV stuff. They would just call and give me information, and I would go out and do a story and talk to other people. And so just because he told Aiden Carney a thing or two, and when I was a TV reporter, sometimes people would call me and say, "You did a good job." Sometimes they call me and tell me I did a job. So I don't really, under the First Amendment, where I don't see the liability for that. I really don't. Freedom of association, freedom of speech. I mean, why can't um, people just give information about a case unless there's a gag order, as there was in the Idaho 4 case, but there was never a gag order in this case.
Somebody
Can
said give him info about the Fed investigation. If he did that, would that be like how big of a deal would that? Is that like a small little rule break, or is that a big
well
deal?
who
Like
are,
I
well
don't
who
really
are
know.
we who are we who are we who are we accusing of lying on the stand? Yannetti didn't
That's a
lie.
good point. That's a
He
good
never
point.
went on the
Let's
stand.
let's just go. Let's skip that part because I think
Yeah.
that's an accusation I don't even want to look at. But what if he did this one? If he did give him info about the Fed investigation, would that be really that big of a deal? I mean, to me,
I
I
don't
don't
see
think
it.
so, but I
I
don't
don't see
really
it.
because the Feds gave it to him, right? I mean, if it
The
was that
Fed
big of a deal, the Feds wouldn't have given him the info, right? I mean,
Well, I thought the feds gave it to, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought the feds gave it to the Norfolk County District
right,
Attorney's office.
right.
Did they give it directly to Yannetti?
Well, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, Yannetti must, yeah. I mean, they must have got it from the DA's office. I don't know, but either way, this is a lot of speculation. I think we
Yeah.
kind of, I think we got we.
And Yannetti
Hey,
is
we're the
not a,
first ones. I think we're the first ones to fairly kind of address that. I think like a lot of times both sides get so caught up and just they never do wrong or they're always wrong, and I think you and I can just be a little more fair on it and just kind of and we don't know all the details. That's the thing. We really don't know.
no,
And I think it's
no,
a lot of ado about nothing in the end. I don't think anything's
I
going to
don't
happen
either.
to David Yannetti. Do you?
No, I really
No.
don't. Good
No.
lawyer. He'll
Yeah.
he'll come up with a good defense for anything he did. And whatever happened to the First Amendment? Why can't people talk to a reporter? I don't get it.
Yeah.
So what? So what? I would say.
Yeah, and that's right. The feds did give info to both sides in the end.
Okay.
That's exactly in the end
All
they
right.
did. I think they gave it to the DA's office, obviously, too. So that's the other side. They gave both sides the info. We have some other things I want to cover tonight, too, but
Yeah.
specifically with Karen Reed. Is there anything else you think we should kind of touch on before we?
Well, I don't know. I thought you wanted to talk about. I have two complaints that I
Yeah.
brought. I thought you wanted to talk about the Miles King motion to
I
dismiss.
do. That was the one I want to spin
Oh
to, but
my
I
God.
probably want to talk about Proctor even before that in regards to the Karen
All
Reed
right.
stuff.
All right.
Because
All right. Well,
Proctor has just become like a focus point
yeah.
with the text. Does the Proctor text does that automatically make it that Karen's probably going to win a case? Do you think? Because I feel like it does. Like I feel like it.
No.
Some people say it means nothing. She has no case against the state. Do those texts really make it a slam dunk for Karen civilly or not?
There's never, my clients always come to me and they say, I was injured. It's a slam dunk. Well, how are you injured? Oh, I forget. So, there's no slam dunk. I've been practicing law for 30 years. Listen,
True.
there's no slam dunk. There's usually, details that people don't pay attention to. There's elements of damages that, people forget causation. All that aside, it's not a slam dunk, but I'm looking at the complaint right now that was just brought June 4th in Bristol, the Karen Reed versus Mass State Police in town of Canton, with, as they say on the very first page, an insidious culture of bigotry and misogyny. So, we've all read just the awful texts. I've never seen anything like it. I really haven't. The racist, homophobic, anti. I don't think Proctor liked anybody that wasn't, that didn't look like himself. So, and that's that's not the story. The story is that it was so out there. It was so outrageous. He was just so, you know, bigoted, disgusting, not even the word for it, that you can't be like that. And people don't know that. So it's an insidious culture, as the complaint says, within the Massachusetts State Police. The whole bunch of them had to have known. Uri Buchanan, his supervisor, gave him positive reviews over and over and over again. So that is a fact. That is a fact. He couldn't get hired by the Boston police, so the Mass State Police hired him. So the Massachusetts State Police either knew or should have known what a repugnant person that Mr. Proctor was. Now, as awful as all of that is, and it is awful, I'm not defending Proctor at all. Please don't misread me. How did that affect him on the job? Well, I think that Rosemary Scapiccio said it really well in her complaint in the Miles King case, because if you have that much animus and hatred that goes just to your very soul, my words, not hers, how can you be objective? You've got this internal cognitive bias that every time you see a person of color, you just see an animal in his mind. You see, you treat them like they're substandard people. I didn't even show the photographs on my channel. I know some people did. That's fine. But if that's how he sees the world, he has this internal cognitive bias. So how can he be? And the same thing applied to the misogyny that he had to women. If he has all of those biases, how can he fairly, be a searcher for the truth, as an investigator is supposed to be? An investigator's job isn't to pin it on the girl or pin it on any one person. The investigator has the job of being open-minded, looking at all of the evidence by the book. And just his bias, he shouldn't have been in charge of that investigation. Does it mean it's an auto win for her? No, of course not. I think her own attorneys, despite what they might say, and I don't know what they've said about this, no, it's not an auto win for her. It's never an auto win, but it sure as hell doesn't make the Massachusetts State Police look good. They should think about the possibility of possibly settling. But how do you put a number on that, Mike? How do you put a number on that? When we do personal injury litigation, it's very difficult to put a number on it.
I would put a number, at least minimum. How much was Karen Reed making a year at Fidelity and Bentley University?
Yep.
Times 25 years, include some inflation. That would be the minimum number, and then some, all the rest of it. But yeah, that would be a lot of money.
And what you're saying, that's exactly what an economic expert does. And I've used economic experts. You nailed it. Part of it. That's one element of the damages.
And there'd be some,
economically, but
and then there'd be some emotional harm and all that other stuff. Yeah, that's the one you can't put a number on.
How do you put a number on that? I've said it before. I'll say it again. In addition to losing her two great jobs and losing her car and losing everything, here's a woman in her 40s that's living with her parents. Now, her parents are very nice people. I have nothing against the Reeds, but who in their 40s wants to, lose their life and live with their parents? I loved my parents, but I didn't want to live with them after I
couldn't do it in my 20s. I mean, I remember I had to move back for 6 months between a lease and a job, and it just,
So you can get an economic expert. You can get an economic expert, and I've used them in cases to do exactly what you just said. What's the economic loss? How much was she making as an adjunct professor? How much was she making as a stock analyst? And then that's not enough. You have to prognosticate or think of a way to determine, well, where was she going? She was at one stage in her career. It's very likely she would have gotten advances and promotions, all of that, and then run it out to her life expectancy, then run out all of her, don't forget her benefits that would have accrued, the pensions, sick days, all the rest. So it's far beyond me. I'm not a mathematician, but economic experts can do all of this and put it to a number. Now, That's fine. But as you pointed out, what about the emotional damage? What about losing your life? Really? I mean, she's not the same person today as she would have been if she still had that beautiful house that she had and the life that she had. So that's an intangible. So I mean, I don't just a lot of times lawyers, you lock them in a room and see if they can just come up with different evaluation techniques. They'll argue the techniques, but they'll often come up with the similar number. $10 million.
Gonna be a big number. Yeah, it's gonna be a big number.
$10 million? I don't know. I really
Could
don't
be.
know. That's just a
Could
number
be.
that's rattling around in my head without having done the run the
I'd say
numbers.
I'd say 2 to 10. I think that's where it should be. I mean,
See,
easily. I'd say it's at least 2 mil, like you said on the on how much she could have earned. I guarantee you she would have earned at least 2 million, if not more,
I was
over a
listening to a
lifetime. She's
financial
young.
I was listening to a financial guy on the radio, a good one. There's too many of them on the radio. I was listening to a good one on the radio the other day, and he was chuckling at the fact that in the old days they said, "Oh, if you have $1 million, you've made it." No, 2.5.
Depends on where you live. Depends on
you
where
know,
you live and what your cost of living is. But yeah, it's expensive.
Massachusetts is one of the more expensive states. So
Look, I mean, I look at how much I spend on food now. Like, geez,
Yeah.
I spend probably as much food as what we used to spend on rent. You know what I mean? Like, it's just funny. Like the numbers, though. I went to a bakery today, a nice little local place I'd never been to, and I was like, oh no, I don't know if I ordered all this stuff, and I'm like, I don't know if I have enough cash. And I said, do you take cards? And she's like, oh yeah, we take cards. And so I'm counting on my cash, and then she gives me the number, and I'm like, holy shit, I have plenty of money. Like, because it was like, I expected it to be higher, just because, like, you can never know what the price is going to be on stuff anymore. It's just like, usually it's double what you think. It's like, oh, you haven't increased. You're at the old prices where it was basically, it's like, it's wild.
Mike,
The cost
I
of
don't
everything.
eat. I don't eat red meat. I was a vegetarian for a while. I gave that up, but I still don't eat red meat. I eat seafood and I eat poultry, but I don't eat red meat. So a couple of weeks ago, my dog was really very, very, very ill. I thought I was going to lose her. She's 15 years old. She had anaplasmosis, and she didn't even eat for days. And so we were racking our brains. So I thought I'll get a steak and I'll marinate it and bash it up with the marinator, and I'll make beef stew for the dog. I hadn't bought red meat for a year. A steak is like $25 now.
Oh, it's crazy. Man.
Really?
I still
I'm
buy
like,
steak,
oh
and I just
God.
I go to Market Basket, and it's just the prices are crazy now.
I couldn't believe the
you know what's even
prices.
crazy is ground beef. Ground beef used to, you get like a $5 package and it'd be huge. Now it's like 10, 15, $20. You're like,
but
what the hell's going on?
Everything's like
ground beef.
Yeah, ground beef, poultry, the stuff that's over in the fruit and vegetable department. Everything is so expensive now. Gas is coming down a little bit, but you never know. So inflation factors into the economic analysis. Like I say, I've worked with economic experts that do all of that. They know how to project. They're basing it on what's happened in the last 10, 20 years. And they're saying that's going to go forward in the next 10, 20 years. And I'm not a stock analyst like Karen Reed is or was, but, generally speaking, it does go up. It has terrible years, but it goes up. So you can kind of guess what someone's financial situation is going to be if nothing bad happens to them. But a lot of it's guesswork. So I'm not saying that they should settle for anything, but I'm guessing $10 million. That's my guess. That's my educated guess, but I don't know.
That sounds reasonable, considering how old she is, her job status, and it sounds reasonable, and all the harm that was happening, and some of the other settlements we've seen in the state. So, I mean, the only thing I think that she doesn't have going for her in this is that she didn't do 20 years in jail. Some of these guys did 20 years in jail, and they get those big payouts, but she still had a lot. I mean, she's been under the gun, all this pressure on her. She's worldwide known now. A lot of people love her, but some people, a small sliver, they don't like her. So a few other questions came up. This one right here says, Sarah says, I'd like to play devil's advocate because it forces me to think differently. Can Attorney Myers talk about how he might try to defend Proctor if he was your client?
Oh, my God. What a question. Now, it's funny because in one of the hearings a few weeks ago, and I can't remember which one it was, they were going from attorney to attorney to attorney, and Attorney DeGangi, who was representing him in that particular proceeding. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell would I say? What the hell would I say? And when he stood up, I'm like, oh, well, it wouldn't be that. I'll tell you that. That's not what I would have said. But remember when Michael Proctor went through the appeals process to get his job back? There were going to be a series of hearings, and they held one hearing, and then there was going to be another hearing, I believe, in October. And then that's when a lot of the phone records initially came out. We peons out here in the public didn't see them, but the attorneys did. And right away, the labor union that was paying his attorney Donahue, I think it was,
Like, we're done. We're done.
told him there are some things that are indefensible. There are some things that we can't defend. And so the attorney withdrew from the case, and Proctor, pulled back on his appeal to get his job back, and that was the end of it. So I'm dodging the question because, I'm a civil attorney. I'm a sole practitioner. When I worked for a firm, I had to do pretty much everything that fell on my desk. If they threw a file on my desk and said, Andrew, you're trying this case tomorrow morning in Boston Municipal Court, which happened, I did it. Now I am a sole practitioner. I'm a civil attorney. I don't have to take cases that I don't want. And I don't. The longer I've been practicing, the more selective I am. I don't know what I'd say. You stumped me. I don't know what I would say for Mr. Proctor, and Mike, don't you think if I came up with anything, don't you think I'd be blasted both by your commenters and the others?
I mean, like you said, I think you said it best, because a lawyer who represented him said it. Some things are just not defensible. I think that's it. I think that's a perfect answer. Karen D said, Mass State Police settled a huge lawsuit on discrimination against women and black officers. I think she had a follow-up question about this too, or somebody did, about whether some of these other cases, like this one, will come up in Karen's case. Can Karen bring those past cases of discrimination and the fact that Mass State Police settled a huge lawsuit recently, like within the last year, about women and black officers? Is that something that she can bring up?
Generally speaking, trial court decisions and settlements are not, don't have mandatory authority in other cases. The only cases that have authority are cases that go up on appeal, cases that go up to the Massachusetts Court of Appeal and to the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court. Now you've got precedent. So no, that they've settled other cases certainly can be used in negotiations, certainly can be used. We attorneys talk all the time. What do you want, Mike? You're suing my client. What does your client want? We'll offer you this. Hey, Mike, look at this other case that your commenter just talked about. Look at this other case. There is a whole series of books, settlements and verdicts. It's all online now, but I used to use the books all the time. That, any case at all, this type of a case, it'll have a series of 10, 12, 20 other cases. And we use those in mediations. We use them in arbitrations. We use them in negotiations. But they really don't have any. It's up to the jury. It's really up to the jury to decide. Brother counsel Simon threw out about 50 million. All right. You said 2 to 10. I said,
is he
10.
here? Is he here?
No,
I didn't see him.
No, he's in your comments. He's in.
He is. I didn't see him.
Val Hallow. Your commenter Val Hallow said
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah,
I see it.
It's
funny. People are I'm loving this too, because you're very knowledgeable on this stuff beyond what we know, and people are loving this, and I want to thank you so much. I mean, we've spent an hour and 12 minutes now just on the Karen Reed Civil. I feel like we could continue to talk. People will continue to have questions, but we do have some other stuff which is related. And I just want to start it with, you mentioned it earlier. I don't even want to put the words up. Some of this stuff is so disgusting that it's like I get afraid to even put it on the screen, honestly. Yeah. But we do have some of the Rosemary Scarpiccio filing for Mr. King. And I'll just show, this is a picture. I mean, this is the type of stuff that Michael Proctor had on his phone. People can see the whole filing on Rosemary Scarpiccio's, her attorney website. It's all there. And it's, again, some of the most disgusting stuff. And it's more new Proctor text. It's like, we just keep getting more of this and more and more. It just never ends. And now they're talking about Snapchat. What did you think about her filing and what's going on with Mr. King? Is he going to get off? She's got a motion to dismiss on this. I'm looking at it and I'm saying, Proctor's stuff is horrible, but are they really going to dismiss charges against a guy who might actually be guilty, like of murder? What's going on with this case? What do you think?
Well, rather than saying whether he's going to be found guilty or not guilty, or whether the motion will be allowed or not be allowed, I mean, what are the factors that'll go into deciding that? I mean, it's a repulsive, bunch of things that were said in the complaint. I wouldn't even show them all. What I did, Mike, is I redacted. Here's the page.
I'm just going to show this one. If people want to see it, I'm going to post a link and people can go look at it themselves. I don't want to get whacked on YouTube, and I don't want to make people sick before they eat their dinner tonight, because the stuff is just horrible. I mean, and again, like you said, why are you going over it? You got to cover stuff up. I think that picture says it all. I think, do we need to see more? I mean,
I think the best quotes in the complaint were, I think, and I said this before, were that all these comments about, people of color, women, I don't know why he really had it out for people of the Judaic persuasion, but it just shows that there's an insidious culture of bigotry and misogyny that fostered such unlawful conduct. So it's not, like I said before, it's not that he said these reprehensible things that would get us banned off of YouTube. You can't say these things, whether they demonetize us or throw us off the platform, or whether they do a thing called shadow banning. That's bad enough. The stuff that he said were just reprehensible, Mike. But the really important thing beyond the stuff that he said and texted, and there were some worse pictures than the one you showed, in my mind, which I pulled the page out and threw it out. That it's just such a culture. I mean, he was with the state police for 13 years. You can't tell me that they didn't know that he was like that. Buchanan, his supervisor, who gave him glowing reviews. How could he give him glowing reviews if he knew about that? So that's how he thinks. He thinks that people of color are not even to be taken seriously as human beings. And so now here he is investigating a man of color charged with murder. Now, Mr. King is absolutely, without any question, under the Sixth Amendment and our Massachusetts Declaration of Rights, entitled to the presumption of innocence, and he's entitled to a fair trial. But was he given a fair investigation is the question. Are even the charges against him, whether he did it or not, he was entitled to a fair investigation. So now, if the investigator himself is tainted that much, that's the question for the court. Are they gonna dismiss the charges? In my mind, they should. In my mind, it goes to the core of what the Commonwealth was throwing at Mr. King, whether that's right or whether that's wrong. But how can they try this case? How can the Commonwealth try? They certainly can't put Proctor on the stand. They didn't put him on the stand in the second Karen Reed trial. So they're going to have to rely on the other investigators. Although, as it was pointed out in Rosemary Scarpiccio's incredible motion, Proctor was the primary investigator. He investigated at least 8, 10 or more of the witnesses. And so I don't see how they can try the case. I really don't see how they can try the case. Will the judge dismiss the case? It's a close call, Mike. It's really a close call. I can't say. I really can't. But it could go either way.
Wow.
It could go either way.
That's scary to think that someone who might have done a murder will get away with it because Proctor's so bad.
Well, I think.
But again, how can you trust? How can you trust that the guy did it if it's Proctor? I mean, that's the problem. I mean, I guess that also leads to all these other guys too, and ladies, whoever. I mean, if you've been convicted and Proctor was the primary detective on your trial, you got to be writing the appeal right now, right? I mean, how many
Well,
cases do
yeah.
you think might get appealed?
Well, we ran an internal. I know there was a letter that got some play elsewhere. That Committee for Public Counsel Services, which is our public defender
That's
agency
right.
here in Massachusetts, they sent a letter both to the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office and also to the
State
Attorney
police,
General,
wasn't
the
it?
state
Yeah.
police. You're right, state police, saying we want a list of all the cases that Proctor handled, even ones that are over now. We want a list of all of them. We're going to review, but we got a hold of an internal document that CPCS actually sent out to all of their attorneys, every single one across the Commonwealth. We want you to go back into your files, and any case in which Michael Proctor or Sean Good were involved, we want you to write a motion compelling the production of the materials that we're talking about here. And that's big, I think. That's big. So the CPCS is a huge agency. A lot of attorneys work for them, and they handle all of the cases in which, the people accused of crimes can't afford their own attorney. Anytime you go to court and you can't afford an attorney, that's the agency that provides the attorney for you. So that's big. It reminds me of the Annie
Annie
Dukan
Dukin. Yeah,
controversy. Remember that? I
I
couldn't
do.
remember. I couldn't remember how many cases were reversed because
I
of
think I think if I remember correctly, it was tens of thousands, but I thought it was like 20, 30,000 type. I mean, it was a huge number.
yeah, it was
And it
huge.
wasn't just her either. There was so like a couple other, at least one other, maybe two. There was a few of them in that.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to be that many for him. I mean, but it could be a number. It could be hundreds. I bet.
yeah, because she was in the state police crime lab.
Yeah.
Proctor and Good, had their little corner of the state. Although Norfolk County is
Mm,
a big county, it's a pretty
I know.
big county. It stretches from Brookline all the way down to. Doesn't it stretch all the way down to the Rhode Island border? I mean,
Yeah, and it also goes west too, even further
it goes
west than
west.
Brookline.
So
Like
it's a
that
huge county.
Medway area, it's like
I,
goes pretty far out actually. Yeah.
I can
It
see
is a
it.
big district. That's the
I
thing.
can
I'm trying to look at the DA's race and it's like hard to get a feel for who's winning because it's such a diverse district.
I can see this as being as big as Annie Dukan, and I forget the name of the woman out in Western Massachusetts who also had her issues, and that
Mm.
caused a lot of cases to be reversed. But I can see it being as big. But now, question for you: Netflix did a fantastic documentary, "How to Fix a Drug Scandal."
Yeah.
How could Netflix or anyone do a documentary about this with all the language that you and I have both read in these complaints? How could
Well,
they
I think
even
they
do
can
it?
get away with it because it's a streaming, right? I mean, it's like HBO. You can kind of, you know, I guess they self-censor a bit, but I mean, it's like kind of HBO. It's like, it's not ABC, CBS, or
I mean,
radio who have to worry about the
some of
swear
this,
words.
some of this language, though. I mean,
Yeah, I know.
the,
Even for HBO, it might be too much, right? I mean, it is.
he
It's
wanted
so
to
bad.
he wanted to
You'd
drag men from
you'd
his
have to have
car.
like a trigger warning on it.
Yeah. Oh,
This
absolutely.
program is extremely,
Yeah.
and then probably have like a little ticker on the bottom, like where I'm asking for money right now, and say this material is extremely. They give
Yeah.
warnings throughout it. I think that's what they'd probably have to do. Uh, yeah, Natalie, I'm going to go through all the super chats tonight, but thank you,
Okay.
Natalie. I'll do that in a few minutes. I want to thank you so much because I just put this one up because I agree 100%. While we're talking about this, is very pertinent that you sent that super chat. I got another Proctor question. This is a good one from Sarah. A different Sarah this time, Sarah 925, and a Sarah with an H says, "Will Proctor be indicted? Could he ever be charged with something? Would he ever be indicted or anything? What do you think? I mean, it seems like he might have done some crimes through this stuff, but I mean, what's the line? When does it become criminal? What type of charges could he actually be indicted if he ever is?"
Well, first of all, Michael Morrissey's not going to indict him, so we have to wait until after the election, as you know full well, because you've had some of the candidates on. Morrissey's not running for re-election, and there are some candidates of different lines of thinking that are running for it. So will they do it or not? I mean, I think that Proctor committed the crime of, dereliction of duty when he said, well, there was an accident, but it was a black person, so let him die. I mean, that's clearly, a dereliction of his duty. That's an indictable offense, I would think. And there were others. I mean, sadly, just being a jerk is not a crime. Being prejudiced is not a crime, but to the extent that he didn't do his job and he neglected his job, I don't see him being indicted, but I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, maybe if Judah Perkins or Adam Deich win, I think
Yeah.
I mean, I think either both of them. I think if they get in office, they'll be investigating all this stuff independently, probably like a task force type deal. But yeah, you bring up that was the one that really bugged me, I think, the most. Even beyond all the racial epithets and the kind of
Mhm.
the rapey stuff bothered me too. But
Yeah.
he's a first responder and he's talking about don't rush,
Yeah.
don't
Don't
rush
rush. They're black people.
based
Don't
on
rush.
spin color. I mean, that
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
even as a joke. Even if you take that as he was just joking, he's not serious.
What's funny about that? I
It's
don't get
sick.
it.
It's
No, I have a
it's a
good sense.
really
I like
it
to
should
laugh.
be anti it should be the antithesis of what like a public servant is. You know what I mean? Like you shouldn't
Yeah.
even like that should never be a joke with somebody who's
No.
I don't know.
You know what?
It's
When
something
I'm not
messed
when
up.
I'm not watching you or other YouTubers, and I do watch a lot of YouTube, but when I'm not watching you guys or listening to music, I'm watching comedy. There's a lot of good comedy on YouTube, and I
What do
like
you
to
like?
laugh. I have a good sense of humor. Um, what's her first name? Pavitsky, Ellen Pavitsky. She's funny as hell. She's just
I need some of that then. I'm gonna have to look
she's
her up.
she's middle aged. She makes fun of herself, and she does really good stand up. And sometimes she'll go back and bring her parents in, and she'll talk about her upbringing and try and blame them. And they say
Oh,
no,
I love
it's
that. That's awesome.
Esther. Her name is Esther Pavitsky, and she is funny as hell. And but there are others. I don't like the late night crap that's on TV because they get political. I don't like politics at all. I stay away from politics. You're smarter than me because you've had
Me too, mostly. I mean,
Deitch
I cover a little
and
local stuff, but it's
yeah.
like the national stuff is just so toxic. It's just
But so
you're not convincing anybody on either side.
my point was I love to laugh and that, but no, it wasn't funny. Don't tell me it was funny. It's not
Yeah,
funny at all. I mean,
there's no
yeah,
funniness.
my father
But
told me
that's the
when I was
thing.
my father told
That's
me when I
gonna
was
be
a
his
very
excuse.
yeah,
That's gonna be his excuse, though. It was just a joke.
there's some things you don't laugh about, like when you go in the airport you don't joke about certain things. What I'm not even going
Yeah.
to say it, but he told me that when I was
Like
a very little
I'd
kid.
say like a couple
No,
things I would never joke about is the
yeah,
Holocaust
no,
or
of course not,
slavery.
of
Like
course
those are
not,
like two things I would
no,
just, especially as a white guy, like or
yeah,
I might joke about a little bit about the potato famine because I'm Irish. You know what I mean? Like my girlfriend's always like, you look at the way you eat, because I'm always eating. I'm like, honey, it's because of the potato famine. I'm always like, it's in my
that's
genes.
funny.
Like if we don't eat today, you never know. There might not be any food
Yeah.
tomorrow. That might be the only joke I give, but
Yeah. There's
that's
nothing
like,
that Proctor said that was funny. I think we can
yeah.
stipulate to that. None of it was funny.
I
None
just
of
said
it
the
was
worst thing I'll ever say. The potato famine.
a
It's because I'm
potato.
Irish. I
And
feel like we suffered too. But
the other thing is, I've said this on my channel. I'll repeat it, maybe more intelligently than I did on my own channel. But Mike, when I got out of high school, I was going to be rebellious and I wasn't going to go to college. So I worked on a loading dock for a year, loading and unloading tractor trailer trucks. And you develop a certain language. You learn how to drop an F-bomb about 8 times in one
totally.
sentence.
I was a
And
Teamster. That's
okay,
a funny.
so
We have that in
so,
common.
so and we have a lot in common. But anyhow, so how
I worked in the warehouse too with the fork trucks.
I knew how to drive a forklift.
We had the beer. We were beer delivery. So there you go. Go.
Okay, no,
So
I worked in a
you know
warehouse.
the language in the warehouse. All
I worked in a
dudes.
warehouse that supplied contractors, and we shipped stuff and received stuff. And kid right out of high school wants to be respected by these people, and a lot of them are really nice people, but they are as profane gets. I never heard anything like this. And I've worked out in a gym my entire adult life. I know it doesn't look it, but I've worked out in the gym. I've been in the locker rooms my entire adult. I've heard nothing like this.
This is
Nothing.
the word.
Nothing.
Were
Either in
they-
nothing at all. Like not even comes.
I know.
close
I
to
gotta say, I probably got a lot of education from the Teamsters too. There was one guy that we used to drive, like, because we'd work a 10-hour work week, And then the fifth day, if you wanted to work inside the warehouse, you could do breakage. So I used to work the fifth day in the warehouse with the fork trucks, but the other 4 days I'd be on the truck with a driver doing all the heavy work. They'd throw the cases to us, we'd wheel them
Right,
in,
right, right.
or the cases, we'd be in a hole, they'd throw the kegs down to us, we'd roll them over. So, we're kind of the muscle, especially while I was in college.
How much of this
In the
did you get to
summers.
drink?
It's funny. On Fridays, every once in a while, they give you a free case if you were 21 plus. But that was pretty much it. Like before I had been there, like every place used to give someone a drink. Like every time you'd make a delivery, you get a free drink. But that was like 5 years before I got there. They stopped it. Like
Oh,
the guys who used to deliver the beer apparently used to be shit faced in the late 70s, early 80s. But somewhere that stopped. When SAD came along, all that stuff stopped,
yeah.
and everyone got tested. So there was no drinking on the job. But they give you like a free case on Fridays.
There you
Um,
go.
and some guys would steal beer every once in a while. You'd hear about it, but whatever. It was just you'd be around that stuff all day. You just get sick of it. Once in a
But
while, on a really hot day, you might break one and just sneak one. Like that
but
happened a few times with a few guys. But basically, what I was gonna say is, those guys definitely would teach you a thing or two. But there was one guy I'd be in the trucks with, and all he would do all day is beep the horn at ladies and it'd say like the craziest shit to them. Like you would be
yeah.
like so horrified. You'd be like,
No,
but
I
you
wouldn't.
couldn't
I
say
heard it.
anything because the guy like he was doing. You
Yeah.
kind of like when you're the helper with the driver, you kind of like you're subservient almost to the driver. So it
Yep.
would just be like all day. I'd just be like, is he gonna beep at this lady again? Like this is just embarrassing. Like he'd say I can't even repeat it.
No, I know what you're talking about, but
We'd all laugh.
my
He'd
point
beep
is
it all
that
day. And sometimes it would work. I'd be like, are you shitting me? This lady likes it? Yeah, we finally found one that likes it. Like, it was just funny. 'Cause most of them would be like, get away from me, dude.
yeah, no, my only point was that, spending the time that I did on the loading dock and then in college, I would go back summers and work there. And, all these years in the locker rooms. No, I never heard anything that even approached this kind of stuff. I mean, usually they're Monday morning quarterbacking the game. Usually they're talking about sports or they're talking about their kids. They went to the basketball game at the high school. That's what I hear. That's what I really, you hear a little bit of spicy conversation, but I've never heard anything like I've read in these complaints we're talking about in or the motion, the Miles King case, or the complaint in the new civil case. It's all
Teamsters, I
beyond
didn't
the
hear that
pale.
stuff. Even with its
Whoops.
drivers who were Teamsters, I never heard the stuff Proctor. Proctor, you think for like a professional outfit like the Mass State Police, you would never hear that kind of language in text. Just, it's so shocking. It really
It's
is.
beyond the pale, and especially in a state like Massachusetts, which I've always contested this, but it has the reputation anyhow of being an open-minded, progressive, liberal state, and this goes against all of that. And my commenters, I don't know about your commenters, but my commenters said, how come the governor's been so quiet about all of this? How come the governor said nothing? She said nothing at all. And my answer is because, and you probably don't want to get into this, but my answer is
I do,
because she
actually.
and
Go
her one of her buddies is Michael Morrissey. They attended the Democratic National
Ah,
Convention together. They're buddies. They're
I
political
would go
opponents.
even further than that. I think you're
Yeah.
right. I think you're right on that. I think part of it is the politics. She's friends with Morrissey,
Right.
but I think it's also like a lot of people that get in power. I had Chris Ferrone, a journalist, on the other day. He noted this that a lot of times, whether it's the governor or city councilor or Senate president, they become friends with the police. If you're a city council, you become friends with the police chief, and you become friends with the local police. And when you're the governor specifically, I used to drive by Charlie Baker's house. He lives pretty close to me.
Really?
He's a certain route that everyone goes by. You'd see every time drive by Charlie Baker's house, we'd know if he was home or not. You know why? The
Why?
state police at marked cars would be in
Oh,
front of his
sure.
house.
Oh,
They'd be
sure.
guarding him. So
Oh,
that's why
sure.
they become friends with these folks. And
Oh, of
and I
course.
think Mara even has some history of even dating some of the female state police. So there you go.
No.
Like,
Really?
yeah, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. So there you go. Like,
Interesting.
that's how deep it goes. Like
Well,
think about it. If you're surrounded by state police every day working, you're going to become friendly with state police. I mean, the nature of the job. So I think there's a lot of friendliness. And where did she come from? She was the attorney general before she was
Right.
governor. Attorney general's like basically the top
Law
prosecutor in the
enforcement.
state.
Yeah. Top law
Yeah,
enforcement
so
officer of the whole state.
she's
Yeah.
law enforcement, and she's friendly with law enforcement because this is who she partners up with, the state police, and like you said, Morrissey. You know, how many Democratic conventions have they hung out at? How many
All,
fundraisers?
all the more
A
though,
lot of
wouldn't you
times.
think that she would want to like clean house when stuff like this comes up? Wouldn't she want to get those people out of there and defend her good law enforcement people? I was in a conversation with a higher up in the Lawrence Police Department. I was trying to get some documents, and it wasn't going the way I wanted it to go. So we're actually talking. We're talking about this very subject, and he says, Andy, we're doing, because of the Karen Reed case, you know, it's reprehensible. It's just we can't believe what's happening. But because of that case, we're furious with the way it was handled down in Norfolk County, and we are changing some of our crime scene investigation techniques and policies and procedures because of that case. Are we happy about it? No, but we feel we have to do it to maintain our level of professionalism. Now, have there been issues with that police department? Yes, there have. But at least I've heard this from other cops. I've represented a fair number of cops because my accountant many years ago was the accountant for a union in an area that I'll remain kind of vague about. But he represented a lot of law enforcement, and so he would recommend law enforcement to me. And over the years, I've gotten to know a fair number of law enforcement who have had like little legal things, nothing awful that raises to the level of this subject we're talking about. And the ones I'm still in touch with, they stop me in the grocery store and say, can you believe what happened down there in Norfolk County? Can you believe that? And they're horrified. You know, there are a lot of very good professional people in law enforcement. And I know I always get negative comments when I talk about this. And
no, I hear the same thing. I talk to a lot of
hard.
retired guys, but even guys on the force,
Yeah.
some guys I went to school with, and they a lot of them are horrified by this.
They're
a lot,
horrified.
you know, I think a lot of cops want to clean up the profession, but they are silenced, unfortunately, because there's a thin blue line, obviously, and it's really
sad.
if you say anything, you're out. You know, so
yeah, it's not good. It's just,
then that's why a lot of them secretly will, you know, give me the attaboy. They're like, Mike, I like what you're doing. Actually, you're helping us. Thank you. And probably what you do too. I mean, yeah, when you talk to these guys, I think you're right too. Like it's interesting she hasn't done anything or said anything. I think another aspect with Maura Healey, it's kind of like do nothing, say nothing, because the mainstream media and even the Globe, they're not investigating her. They're taking it easy on her. They allow her to be kind of like the Dunkin' Donuts governor. You know, it's all PR. It's all like, oh, this week is the World Cup. We're going to dress up and do a video. And, you know, next week we're doing a Dunkin' Donuts commercial with Kim Driscoll. And we're going to pretend we're Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Oh, it's so funny. This week, Celtics are in the playoffs. I'm going to shoot a basketball. Hey, you know, I used to play basketball. I'm Maura Healey. I'm a pretty good basketball. I could throw. She's a good basketball player. But I think that's it. I think that's the other part of it. It's like she has it like so good that she doesn't want to rock the boat by bringing anything up because it might, you know, maybe the Boston Globe might actually do their job on this. Like, I don't know. I think a lot of the media has been defanged, and I think some of it. Chris Ferron was on the other day. He talked about the paywalls. It's like a lot of these big newspapers. You mentioned some of them tonight: Washington Post, Boston Globe, New York Times. They're all behind paywalls. So that means only rich people are reading them now. It used to be easy to buy a 35-cent newspaper. I used to buy them every day. But who the hell wants to have 15 subscriptions today? A lot of people don't, and we're not even seeing the news anymore. So it feels like that's maybe why she doesn't say anything. Why screw up what she has right now? Nobody's putting any pressure on her. Sometimes she gets a little pushback because of how much money she spent on the undocumented people, you know, but mostly she's just like, I'm gonna not cause any waves. I'm gonna get reelected and go on our way. I think that's a big part of it too.
Gone are the days, and you'll remember this, I'm pretty sure. Gone are the days when Ed King was governor and they would excoriate him in the press because he took all of his buddies over to, was it Deanie's Lobster House? And they actually got pictures of him, sitting there with his buddies eating lobster. Do you remember that? Or am I
See,
really
I
dating it?
remember Ed King got in a scandal, but I didn't remember what it was. All I
That was one of
remember
them.
about Ed King is I was like, is he on Nixon? Is that what he is? Like, what's going? Like, I don't
Yeah,
remember exactly what happened. It
they
was,
hated
and
him.
I keep thinking he was a Republican for some reason, but he was a Democrat, right? He must have been a
Yes, he
Democrat.
was a Democrat. There was
Yeah.
another Ed King that was a Republican that ran against him in the early primaries. But no, you're right.
Oh, maybe
He
that's
was,
what I was
but
thinking
they
of.
hated him. They couldn't
Yeah.
stand him. And they escort. But you're right. There's
Yeah,
no
he's a former
reportage.
governor of Massachusetts in the 70s, if I remember. Like, probably
Late 70s.
mid 70s? Yeah.
Late 70s. I
Late
think 78.
77, 78. Yeah.
Because I was in the newsroom of WCGY when he was elected. So that was the late 70s.
October 25th, 1977, King announced that he would seek the Democratic nomination for governor. So that's when he ran.
Yeah. So
And
I think it was
one of the things he
78.
wanted to do is raise the age to 21. Oh, so he changed my life, actually. All the older kids were like, we used to drink with our teachers, and we were the kids that had age 21. That's
I
funny.
don't wanna-
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really don't want. I really don't want to go down that road. But yeah.
Yeah,
Is that what
yeah,
it did?
how old we are. It's funny because Sarah said earlier that we were both only 35, so we're not that old actually.
We're both 35.
Yeah, that's according to Sarah. She's very nice to us.
Okay.
She likes us a lot. We're only
Okay.
35.
All right. Okay. You have some good commenters here, and so maybe I
Yeah,
should
the
go
ladies
back
love
to-
us over here. We have some
Maybe
good ladies.
Maybe I should go back to doing lives. I don't know. I just don't like
Yeah,
them.
well, come do them
Maybe-
here. Because I think I've enjoyed this, and the audience has enjoyed it. Everyone said we're a good duo. I think this has been fun. Like we're like
Yeah.
we have so much in common. Almost everything you say, except you're a lawyer and I'm not. But like a lot of things you say, I'm like, I did that too. I did a fork truck. It's so funny.
Oh yeah, the funny
do
thing
have
about
a-
it now
we
is,
like both like Howie. We both like reading newspapers back in the day.
Yeah,
the
but-
Phoenix.
but you get
mean, I don't-
to sit in for Grace. I love Grace. I listen to Grace almost
Yeah.
every day, and you sat in for her while she was out on her maternity leave, and that was pretty hot. That was a pretty cool thing to do.
It was, but I'm not as good as Grace. I love Grace. Grace
No,
is
you do
great.
a great
She's
job.
she's a good friend now, and yeah, I'll hopefully be on there on Friday. Last Friday I canceled. I was like, I was too overwhelmed, and sometimes I just can't do it. But she, usually do that every Friday as a guest with her, and I enjoy it. Yeah, I've enjoyed having you on the show tonight. It's been great.
Thank you.
There was
Appreciate it.
another thing I wanted to ask you about because in July, the Clancy, I forgot her name, Lindsay Clancy.
Lindsay Clancy. Yeah.
The mom who killed the children is going to be coming to trial in July, expected. And that one just crushes me, and I just wonder about should the state be trying somebody like her? It's obvious that she didn't want to kill her kids. Something happened in her head, postpartum craziness. What do you think about a case like that, and how hard will it be to actually get a conviction? Will it be? I mean, is it going to be cut and dry because she did it, but she's also got something wrong in the head? Like, what do you think about that case upcoming?
Well,
in July?
I kind of took my eye off of
Yeah.
that case, partially because it's just such an awful case. I mean,
It is, isn't it?
Um, wasn't there talk of her taking an insanity defense, and she didn't want to do that? I'm not up to date on that case. I'll have to be really honest with you. I've got to spruce up on that because you're right. It's coming up for trial in May. I don't know. I'll be honest.
It's one that. Did you like? Because I remember there's been other cases in the past, even the big one. Like there was one woman who drove her car into the water. I believe she was convicted.
Yeah.
Killed her kids.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like a lot of times these women do go to jail for these types of situations. Do you think that's like something that could change here? Because I feel like a lot of people do get and feel bad for this lady, and I do definitely.
It's all in the facts. It's really, all these.
Yeah.
There's no general statement. Like somebody in your comment section just mentioned Adam Montgomery. I heard some other people on another YouTube channel talking about on these kinds of cases when the only witnesses paid is somebody that has something to gain, and it's like you can't talk about a category of cases the Montgomery case was a horrible, horrible, horrible case. And I don't mean to change the subject, but you can't like categorize them. I'm one of the few people that in the Montgomery case, I disagree with what the New Hampshire Supreme Court, which licenses me in New Hampshire, by the way. I disagree with the ruling, but we're allowed to say things like that. So I don't know about the Lindsay Clancy case. I mean, if someone can snap like that and you know, cause the deaths of all three of her children, is that somebody that should be back out? I don't know. It's a social question. It's a horrible question, but it would be really dependent on the facts. I mean, again, I haven't been following it as closely as I have. What was she undergoing? Hadn't they just changed one of her prescriptions? Shouldn't she have been under closer supervision? Her husband just went out to run an errand or two. And should that have happened? Did he know better? Should he have, you know, not gone out? Could he have ordered the stuff? Whatever it was. I don't know. There's just too many questions. These cases
Depends
are all
I'm glad you said it. It depends on the details. That's why all these cases are so different. It depends on the details and what's actually heard in court too. I mean, that's the other part of it, right?
Right. Yeah. The DAs always hold their cards close to the vest. And I thought, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought at one time there was a proposal for her to take a plea and then she would spend the rest of her time in an institution. Am I wrong about that?
I thought so too, but apparently, like I saw something today that said it was going forward in July. So I was like, wow.
Sounds like a tough case. Sounds like a really tough case to defend.
I feel bad. And the husband is defending her, which is kind of unusual. It shows how much he, you know, obviously does care about her.
Yeah. Just a horrible set of circumstances.
I feel bad for them all. I just do.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah. A lot of crazy cases in Massachusetts right now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Some people suggest this might be something wrong with the water. I don't think so, because look at, we have like some of the most highly educated people. We do very well in standardized testing and all that. So I don't think it's anything with the water.
No, I don't either.
We are one of the most successful places in the world, actually. Too much success. That's one of the reasons it's so expensive here. Any final thoughts tonight? Anything else that we didn't discuss that we're supposed to discuss, or anything else that you want to mention?
Well, I think that the Massachusetts courts have to do something in terms of not having 4 different cases out there. I think and I did an episode on this where I showed my earlier cheat sheet or scorecard about all these cases. And I don't think they can keep going down these 4 different paths. I think at some point there has to be some consolidation of at least the facts of what happened to John O'Keefe that night and what happened with Karen Reed that night. I think, you know, to try all 4 of those cases in 4 different courts, I don't think it's a good day for the court. I think Judge Gilday is a highly respected judge, but I don't know why he's in such a hurry. I think he shuts down. If you watch the hearings, the ones on Zoom or the ones in court, and there was one today, I think he shuts the attorneys down a little bit too much. I've been practicing law for 30 years, and I think I've had good experiences in front of Massachusetts judges. I don't think I've seen the kind of shutting them down so quickly as I've seen in this case. And I don't think it's a good look. I really don't. Where the case was only filed in 2004. Mike, I have cases that are older than that. I don't think that there should be such a hurry. I know that he wants to get through it pretty quickly, but I don't think it's a good look. I guess that's all I can really say about it. But, you know, as a closing thought, Rosemary Scapiccio is a fantastic attorney, and the way she wrote that motion is incredible. And it's a horrible day for the Commonwealth. I can't believe there hasn't been more publicity nationwide. I can't believe it. You know, the Rodney King thing was huge. That was huge. And this is
headlines.
Getting nothing.
Yeah. True.
So those are my closing thoughts.
Oh, I really appreciate you being here. And Andrew Myers, check you out on YouTube. Tell everyone where they can follow you, social media, all that.
Well, basically YouTube, it's the channel name, and we've had fights about changing it, but now that I've been doing it that long, I hate to change it, but it comes under Law Offices of Andrew D. Myers. That's my YouTube channel. Law Offices of Andrew D. Myers, and the name of it is About the Law. But if you go into YouTube and just type in law offices of Andrew D. Myers, it'll come up. We
That's
probably could
right.
have done it
We
better.
have it. We do have that pinned in the YouTube chat too, so people can find it right there. And I hope they follow you if they haven't already. I know a lot of people are already following you, and you're also on Twitter, I'm sure, on Facebook. Are you, or any other social media places?
I'm not. I told you how I got into this, and we're still kind of fumbling around. But yes, I have a woman. I have a TikTok channel. I have somebody that does it for me. I don't know anything about TikTok, but I have a woman that takes my episodes and chops them down and reposts them as shorts on YouTube, but also on my TikTok channel. I don't know what else she does.
Oh, I
Mike,
love it. I need a lady like that. I need a lady. I've spent so much time uploading, and
this
you're
summer,
lucky. You got all these ladies helping you, Andrew.
This summer, it's not like you're alleging, and I have 2 interns this summer. One of them is a marketing student. So this summer, maybe they're going to address these things you're talking about, and maybe I'll bring it all up to speed.
It's awesome. You're killing it. I love it. You're doing really well on YouTube. You did the live with me tonight. People want you back on another live here. We really appreciate you, Andrew Myers, attorney Andrew Myers. Let's give him a big round of applause in the chat.
Thank you, Mike. Good to see you
again.
Thank
you so much.
Love talking.
Have a great rest of your week, Andrew.
You too. Take care, Mike. Be well.
That was Andrew Myers. I really enjoy having him on the show. It's fun. That was fun. That went by quickly too. That was an hour and 49 minutes. I feel like we just went off. That was good. That was fun. Someone says it pays to know people. Yeah, he does have a good channel on YouTube. Make sure you follow Andrew and Yoli. Yeah, I like them. They've had me on as a guest. I think the first time I was on solo with Andrew, I think the second or third time I was with both of them. I enjoyed it as a guest. I don't usually like to be a guest, honestly. But again, it was fun with them. I think it was pre-recorded. I'm not sure. Maybe it was live. But I had fun with him tonight. This was good. That's what we needed too. Just get back into the Karen Reed stuff. I just want to read some of the super chats tonight. There's also, like I said, the Karen Reed hearing happened today. I missed it. I was trying to get it. I couldn't find it. And then right before I started the show, it turned out someone did get it. So you know what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to wrap up the show tonight. And then we're just going to come back with another stream. We're just going to stream the Karen Reed hearing and maybe watch it together. Because I never got to watch it today. But let me thank everyone, because there's been a lot of super chats today. Law Talkers, thank you so much. I love Money Mike. I love that. Thank you, Sarah, one of our best mods here. Thank you. I'm going to get some meatloaf. Oh, my man. JFK showed up. He said, match the energy. My guy, Mikey. JFK has been getting a lot of crap lately. Let him be. I have no issues. One of the trolls was coming at me. They're like, Mike must be upset about JFK. No, never. I love JFK. I hope people just give them some space, Not he's been a lightning rod. He's taken a lot of shit, like I have too. But sometimes you just need a break. Law Wifey 25, matchy. And also, I think there's a lot to what JFK says too. I agree with a lot of what he was saying. Like I don't know if I'm going to go as far as he does, but there's a lot of facts to that. Like you got to think long term and about what's good for Karen too, and all of us. And Natalie Diana, maybe I'll talk more about that in the future. Natalie Diana 67 says, "Match me." Merlot 1958 says, "Overmatch." Thank you so much. Law Talkers as well. Thank you so much. Let's get this goal. We did get the goal. That was the great thing. While we weren't even acknowledging the super chats, we made the goal tonight. Thank you so much. Oh, you know what? I had starred this one, Karen. I'm sorry I didn't ask it. I did ask some of your other questions tonight. I didn't mean to get back to that. It's funny. Sometimes I star some of these comments and questions, and then I forget to get back to them. I want to recognize this one, Christy Painter's daughter. She was here tonight. She said, sorry, bailed out for a few, checked out our weather forecast here in central Illinois. Storm is still about an hour or so away. Heard there is going to be some really strong bad weather in some of the central part of the country. I hope everyone's safe. Make sure you're in a safe place. Check your weather reports tonight. I hope you are safe, Christy. We're thinking of you. Natalie, thank you so much. We did post that earlier. Thank you for being here. One of our great mods, always here. Averill, thank you for being a member. And Shannon loves Connecticut. Says, I haven't been around in a while, but I still support Mike Crawford and love everyone in the chat. Well, you picked a good show to come back on, Shannon. It's good to see you back. Nicole RM67, thanks for all you do, Mike. Always great content and guests. Yes, I tried to do my best. Tonight did live up to the hype. It was a good show. Yeah, and that's the thing, Jumping Jack Flax. I've been thinking a lot, especially after JFK said what he did the other day. And I was listening and I was like, yeah. I've had this conversation with myself back and forth, back and forth. Like one day I feel like I just don't want to, I want to get back to business. And then other days I'm like, F that. But I think I'm there. I think this is what I want to get back to this. And this was one of those types of shows that I enjoy doing, and I'm going to continue to try to do shows like this. Is just do my best shows, my best content, and I'll leave Twitter on Twitter. Sometimes I might say something on Twitter, but it is what it is. And mostly, I think I need to stay off Twitter again. I've been saying that for a while. It's hard to do. Yeah, there's a new filing too. There's so much happening today. So much. Oh, you did? You posted? I didn't know she had her own YouTube channel. Wow. She has a YouTube channel too? Yeah, she is she is smart. I like her a lot. I'll have to check out her YouTube channel. Vic, can you send me that YouTube channel in our private chat? Because I want to check it out. I want to make sure I'm subscribing to her. Um, what else did I want to say? I felt like I had something else to say too. Oh, BB Egan, our dude, sent 20 and says, in the Ozarks, a tornado warning. Good stuff. Oh, Christ, you're down there. Be safe, bro. Get to a safe spot like the cellar or something. I don't know. What do you do in a tornado? You lock it down. You hide in the tub. I hope you're all right. Be safe. Make sure you check the weather radars. You get those weather radars. You know what's coming, when it's coming. Um, what else? Oh, you know what? I just want to check the event. I'm gonna set it up right now. We're gonna come back. We're gonna come back and do a new stream, and we're just gonna replay the Karen Reed hearing that I didn't get to see today because I missed it. I want to watch it with everybody. All right, I think we're all caught up. I think we're all caught up on super chats. I think we're all caught up on thanking everyone. I want to thank all of our moderators. I want to thank Andrew Myers, Attorney Andrew Myers, for for being here tonight, for being a great guest. Make sure you follow him on the social media, especially his YouTube channel, which we do have pinned in the chat. Anyone who watches on the replay, I will also pin his YouTube channel in the comments, a top comment on our YouTube channel, on the YouTube replay. Excuse me. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Anything else? Yeah. You know what I'm going to do? Let me set up the stream. It's going to take me a second here. Going to take me a second to set up the stream again. And we're going to watch the Karen hearing. Let's see if we can do that right now. Hold on 1 second. Live stream. And then what I'll do is I'll redirect us all. So we'll pretty much go over there. Karen Reed, civil hearing. All right. I'm going to schedule that for 7:35, which would be like 5 minutes. But I'm pretty much going to start it pretty quickly. It'll take me a second here. I'm almost there. Doing things on the fly. Don't leave me. I'm setting up the new stream. I wish I had time to do this earlier, but I didn't know this was coming out today. I thought we were gonna have to wait till probably tomorrow. But it came out like pretty much found it as soon as I went live tonight. And so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna come back in just a couple minutes. We're gonna replay what happened today in court that I didn't get to watch, and hopefully we all watch it together. If you want to stick around, stay with us. Again, the stream right now will redirect to the Karen hearing from earlier today. And I'm just getting that set up. It's almost ready to go. Give me another second here. Hopefully no one's leaving me. We get the subs on. You know what? I want to change the... Can I do that too? No, it's too late. I think we're good. All right, I got the redirect on. Any other comments before I go? Snack break. Yeah, it's a snack break. Oh, I love the North Shore crew. Thank you, Robert. Good to see you, bro. Yeah, give the stream a hype if you can on the way out. Make sure you give it a like. Subscribe if you haven't. Yes, I hope Andrew does come back soon. I'm sure he will. Be safe, everybody, especially if you're in the Midwest, Chicago, Illinois area, apparently. I want to thank everyone for watching. And again, I'm going to come right back with a new stream. We're going to watch what happened today in court. Let me see if I can get it up real quick because I don't want to miss it. We're gonna go immediately to it. Let me just get YouTube back up. So be quickly. Give me another second here. Yeah, we got a live motion here. It's like 29 minutes early today. And I love this. This is like not a Zoom hearing for once. This is just straight up court action, close-ups. So this is going to be fun to watch. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Thank you, everybody. Thank you all the super chats. And we'll be back with a new stream to watch what happened today in court with Karen Reed. See you in a few.